Okay, I'm going to do a quick review on how to put in one of these large plate glass windows. I was helping a student kind of after class, spacing out on the word, and couldn't remember that these guys are called picture windows. Again, it was a very long day for all of us. But here's what this would look like finished. I'm going to walk you through sort of some of the math of this, and I played around with a couple of models from this company, and depending on which model, they limit how tall you can go with it, which is not unusual because, again, think about how hard it is to ship and kind of install these two. So there is going to be a limit from these companies of what they will sell. So that's kind of how their models are working. So there was one that looked really modern. I sent a link to one of your classmates, thought it would work out great. And then when I played with it more, I think it maxed out at about 6 feet tall. Where this one here is getting us a little bit more height at about, I think this one's 8 feet tall. Okay. So that's pretty much the max we can get out of these. And I'll explain the math of this in a minute. So when you go to draw it, I'm going to kind of get rid of my lines here so you can sort of kind of follow along if you need to. All right. So here's kind of what the finished product's going to look like. So you're going to get your tape measure tool over here. You're going to bring up at least 3 inches off the ground. So I think that's what I did here. You can go 3 to 6 inches because think about how the wall is built. There's a footer on the bottom, basically sill of building this wall out of wood framing. So there's a piece of wood lying, flat down. That's going to help support and tie all this together. So at least 3 inches. Again, 3 to 6. So I put 3 here just to kind of mimic what I have here on the left. Then again, remember this one maxes out at, I think it was 96 inches roughly, about there. Yep. And then, so there's my top bottom. Again, if you do the math here, there's about 9 inches there. That again, you need that above your window for the header, basically the framing that's going to go around this window. But you're also going to need, there's probably a beam up here supporting the whole like roof structure or the next floor above. So there's more, but basically wood construction going on here that needs to take place. That's why your window can't go all the way up to basically the top of the ceiling. All right, so that's the max that this model here will allow you. To get the location here on the floor, I think I showed you, if I haven't caught putting this on your toolbar yet, what you want to do to get this row right here is go to View, Toolbars, and that's the styles right there. So click that on. So this first one here, this light blue way is an X-ray. So if you click on it, if you had your CAD plan below here, you can then kind of use it to reference. I would say eyeball it again, because sometimes when you pull this line and you're trying to match it up to something over here, you're not actually going like vertically across this wall. You could throw things off. And I think that's what's happening for some people in class. So for now, I'm going to get this edge, kind of pretend, say maybe that's where my window starts. Then I turn it off, and you should know from your CAD roughly how wide your window is. In this case, I think I'm doing 5 feet here. So I'm going to take the 5 feet. So there's my rectangle I want to cut out. So now I'm getting the rectangle tool. I'm going to start up here in the corner. See where that little red X pops up and it says intersection? That's great. It means everything's on the same plane geometry wise. Everything is stuck to this wall. So if I left click there, pull it down, then I left click down here, and again, see that intersection point. So another clue that everything's working out well is that these lines are light. They're not bolded. When it's bolded, it means it could be like skewing off like towards you this way, that it's not flat on this wall. All right, so now to push pull it, what I'm going to do is I'm going to push, but I'm going to stop and kind of snap it to this back wall. That allows it to like open it up, like open the cavity of this wall here. So we're going to push it forward, stop right on that edge, and boom, now it's nice and open for my window. So what I did then is I went to the warehouse, I typed in picture window. Our old friend Marvin popped up, but they are not as adaptable in terms of the width and heights. Instead, I've got this guy. I did send a link earlier to one of your classmates where there was another, Milgard has another line called Trinsic, which was more modern looking and didn't have what these are called mullions, these lines here. The glass here is called like plain, or a light. So we'll talk about that in a second when I bring it in. But this is the model that I brought in. So I'm going to download it just so you can see it here, what it looks like when it comes in. So here's what it looks like when it comes in. Kind of a far cry of what you get there. But the nice thing is this guy is very editable. So we're going to pivot around. Another thing to do is the handle to move this in. So when I get the move tool, I'm going to go to the very middle right here because I want this to kind of come out into my room and not be flush against the wall. So I'm going to line that up right there. So see how it's coming out in space? Again, that's how it looks like in the real world. So I think this model allowed me to stretch it left, right, but not up, down. But the cleaner way to do this is go through the dynamic components and edit this. So let me kind of get into like a little bit of more of a space. You can see it. All right, so if I right click on it, I'm going to go to dynamic components, component options. So right here, it's telling me the minimum and maximum that this company will allow me to make this model. So I can go to 5 feet here. So, and we can hit apply and see now that's the width. The height, again, we went all the way to the max with this guy, so 96 inches. And hit apply, and there it is fitting in my opening nicely. I also have some options here to change the color, the exterior color. So like let's go with bronze just to make it look a bit more modern. And say it should turn so you can see it the more brown. Now the next thing we want, so frame depth, I don't know how much I get to edit with that. So I don't think I really do there. So see how it's grayed out. All right, so the lights, the horizontal lights, that's these squares. So there's 2 going horizontal, 2 going vertical. So I just changed that to 1 instead. Apply. And there you go. There's our fairly modern looking window. And like I said, that is the max height we're going to be able to get. Now, if you wanted a wider space, what you're going to do is cut this opening. So I'll move this guy over here. Let me move it over. And nice thing is if you hold it and type like this and keep it on the red line, you're kind of keeping it on the same plane. So I'm going to type 10 feet so I can bring it back 10 feet. So if I wanted this to be a 10-foot wide window, I'm now going to push it this way 5 feet. And what's going to happen in real life, so now let's move this guy over 10 feet. So I'm going to type in 10 feet, make sure I'm going to the left along the red line. I'm now going to copy it. So the easy way to do that is to say edit, copy, now paste in place. And then I'm going to kind of shimmy around here and get that middle handle of it again. So there's one on top of another right here. And then I'm going to pull this over 5 feet. And then that's what it would, how they would actually construct and put this together in real life. Because you're not going to have a 10-foot wide piece of glass. You're going to have this one here and then this one next to it. But that's a nice clean way for a couple of you who had bigger expanses. And again, you can keep going, like this can become a whole wall of glass in a room, but that's how you would do it that way. And then eventually, like I said, we take out all these little lines and there you've got kind of a nice clean look to it, to your big plate glass or picture glass window there. All right, thank you. Hope this was helpful. And again, I'm happy to help you in class, like troubleshooting any of this stuff, because I know it's difficult and the models don't always play nicely with us either.